Okay, so this right here is called a box and whisker chart. This is the box. These lines represent the whiskers. You guys can also see or name them as box plots. That's what they're written as in IXL, if you guys have an IXL account that you use. The middle line right here inside the box is called the median. You do not have to write this down. I just want you to learn this because you are going to have an assignment on this tomorrow. So the line in the center is called the median. This line at the end, sometimes you'll see it as a point. This is called the max, the maximum number. This smaller line at the end, or this end point, is called the minimum. So as of right now, you should know that the line in the center of the box is a median. The line at the end of the box and whisker plot is the max. The line at the start of the box and whisker plot is the minimum. These lines right here on the edge of the box are called the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Again, you don't have to write this down unless you want to. This line is called the lower quartile, and this line at the end is called the upper quartile. Another thing that I want you to consider is that, let me write it in purple. This right here is considered 25% of the data. So from the minimum to the lower quartile, that's 25%. Then from the line or the lower quartile to the median, that's another 25%. And then from the median to the upper quartile, that's another 25%. And then between the upper quartile and the max, so right here, that's 25% as well. And if you think about the median, it actually makes sense because the median is in between the minimum and the maximum. The median is between the lower quartile and the upper quartile, and the median is right in between 50% and 50%. Median, upper quartile, lower quartile, maximum, minimum. Now, whenever you're asked about range, range is the maximum minus the minimum, which makes sense. Look, between 20 and 24, that's 22. So the max is 22. The min is 6. 22 minus 6 is 16. And that's the range. That's the range of numbers. That's the range between the data, the maximum and the minimum. Range. Now, when they ask you about interquartile range, interquartile range, that means the end of the box minus the beginning of the box. The upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So let's go see how much the upper quartile is. The upper quartile is between 12 and 16. The number between 12 and 16 is 14. The number between 8 and 12 is 10. So we have, sorry, I accidentally pressed that button. So we have 14 minus 10. The upper quartile minus the lower quartile. 14 minus 10, which is 4. 14 minus 10 is 4. So the nice thing about these questions is you don't have to answer all, like, what's the min, what's the max, what's the lower quartile, what's the median, what's the upper quartile, what percentage, or what's the interquartile range, what's the range. They're just asking you one question. What is the lower quartile of Lola's volunteer hours? Because it tells you that this data represents Lola's time that she volunteers at the animal shelter per month. So it's like her stats, her statistics of like all the hours that she spends volunteering at the animal shelter. So what's the lower quartile? Well, let's look at the lower quartile. The lower quartile is this line right here, and that's 10 hours. So you would just write 10, and you're done. 10 hours. Now let's answer the next question. The Fox River Fishing Club, I'm reading right here, held its annual bass fishing contest last weekend. The contest organizer recorded the weight of each fish. Well, here's the weight of each fish. What is the interquartile range of the weights? Remember, the interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So first, I'm going to see, okay, this upper quartile is between 8 and 10. The number between 8 and 10 is 9. The lower quartile is 6. So the interquartile range is 9 minus 6. 9 minus 6, tell me in the chat, is 9 minus 6 is 3. So the interquartile range of the weight of each fish caught is 3 pounds. So that's how they range. The majority of the fish range within 3 pounds. And that's it. What is the median? Can you guys tell me in the chat which one is the median? What number represents the median? Zach's step counter tracked how many steps he takes each day for a week. Here's the data. Remember, the median is the line inside of the box. The line inside is the median. So what number? Well, how many steps are his average steps? Correct, 8,000. Good. Next question. Dr. Baker, a veterinarian, recorded the weight of each newborn kitten her office saw today. Cool. So this is the data of all the kittens that were born in the office today. What is the interquartile range of the kittens' weights? Remember, interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, which is this one. So we have a number between 140 and 160. That number is 150. And the lower quartile is given to us. So we have 150 minus 120. What's 150 minus 120? That tells you the interquartile range. That's the range right here within the box. Yep, 30 grams. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to get faster and faster. What's the interquartile range of Mike's teammates' shoe sizes? Well, what's the number between 6 and 8? 6 and 8, what's the number right there that's not marked for us? 7. And then the lower quartile is between 4 and 6. What's the number between 4 and 6? 5. So our interquartile range is our upper quartile minus our lower quartile. So it's 7 minus 5, which is, thank you, I already see it in the chat, 2. What is the range? What is the range? So it doesn't say interquartile range, it says range. So the range is the maximum minus the minimum. So the max minus the min. The max is 350. The minimum, the minimum they didn't give to us. We have to figure it out. What's a number that's in between 100 and 150? A number that's in the middle of 100 and 150. 125. 125. So we have the minimum at 125 and the maximum at 350. If we subtract those two numbers, and I'm going to rewrite it like this just because it's easier. 10 minus 5 is 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the range in the visitors at the park that day is 225 visitors. That's the range. It's the range. We're almost done. I know I keep saying that, but it'll get easier. What is the most goals the team scored? What is the most? What is the most? What's the max? Tell me in the chat. What's the max? What's the most amount of goals any hockey team scored? 8. Yep, the most is the max, which is 8. What is the interquartile range of 12 and 4? 12 minus 4 is, tell me in the chat, 8. Good job. What is the range? What is the range of apples' weights? The range is the max minus the min. The max minus the minimum. So the max looks like it's between 110 and 120. What's a number that's in between 110 and 120? In the chat, please. 115. So we have the max. What's the minimum? It's a number between 70 and 80. Good. 75. So 115 minus 75 tells you the range in all the apple weights. 115 minus 75. 5 minus 5 is 0. 11 minus 7 is 4. So the range in grams is 40. Good. This will be our last one. What is the fewest pizzas sold today? What is the fewest? So that means the minimum, the least amount. This number is between 50 and 100. And I already saw you guys put it in the chat. Yep, and it's 75. Good job.